Hello, everyone. This is David Ellis, and today we're going to be talking about something very important. I am joined with OP Kreft. OP is a psychic medium out of Manitoba and a very dear friend of mine. OP, you have a lot of stuff going on, which we will be getting into, including the Conexus Arts Centre show that is coming up in February. I wanted to let everybody know that, if you haven't heard, this is the place to be for genuine psychic and spiritual discussion. There's going to be a lot of people on hand there that you definitely want to meet. Okay, Opie, tell us a little bit about what you do and what's happening with you.
Well, I am a psychic medium in Winnipeg Beach, Manitoba, and I used to be located in Regina, which is my home front. That is where I built my connections and my business, and I am so excited to come back in February and get hands-on with my community, bring experiences of spirit. I love empowering people, connecting them to people on the other side, and illuminating more information about the journey of mediumship.
Okay, which would tie in very, very, very well with what we're talking about today, which is the soul's purpose. All right. Whenever people say that, we're going to start with definitions like any other podcast. I think people tend to generally think about the soul and then people interchange it with the spirit. Is there a difference between the two in your interpretation? Because the metaphysical law says that the soul is a container, the spirit is the spark, the divine spark. Right?
I think the soul is the wisdom. So what I was taught about the soul is if we look at it like an orange above, every life experience, a slice comes down. So it's an extension, and that's why we live so many different aspects of the human journey, which I find humorous when people are racist because they probably experienced that race. Right? We've been in power, we've been slavery, we've been in all different shapes, all different sizes, all different experiences, because that's the real growth of the soul. The spirit is the energy we bring in a lifetime. To me, that is the energy, the spark, the uniqueness that we hold. But the soul components still kind of have the basis foundation of who we are within that. Does that make sense for you, David?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I believe that's the Christian theological worldview as well. Now, we're talking about soul purpose. There are a number of ideas that people have about how the soul moves through the universe. And people say, well, I came here for a purpose. And they usually try to go to other people to tell them what the purpose that they came here for is. I find that hilarious. It's like a generalized scam among certain kinds of people in the spiritual community. It's like you go, people come to you, well, let me tell you what you're here for. I'm like, that's a pet peeve of mine. Tell me what you think about that.
Do not disempower yourself. Do not hand over your authority to any intuitive in that regard. That lights me up, David. I have to tell you, because if anybody is hijacking your personal growth, your experience, and your reflective piece in that, walk away. That is not authenticity. It's just like when people try to tell you your spirit guides, it triggers me. That is personal. That is a person's journey. And here's the thing. People can morph. People grow. You're not supposed to be segregated to one life experience. We're here to experience many different aspects. As a psychic medium, my journey transforms all the time to support people in unique ways at different periods of time. And I think people should be open to that perspective in their life as well.
There's the kind of funny thing about it, right? I want to take a swipe at the established religions here. So if you're particularly Christian, you're going to say, oh, those psychic medium people, they're from the devil. But you can come to our little confessional and our little Bible meetings, and we'll tell you what your soul's purpose is. This is the same. It's the same thing. It is the same thing. Now, here's the thing. I think a lot of people get wrong information when it comes to this concept of psychic awareness or metaphysical awareness. Okay, I think a lot of bad media has given people the idea that psychics or mediums or people who delve into the spiritual aspects of themselves are extremely weird and dysfunctional people.
Mm.
Well, part of that may be true, depending on what it is you're afflicted with. But anyway, right? Depending on what it is that you're afflicted with. So, as an example, I'll give you an example. People think that channels are definitely communing with Satan or some negative entity. And I think it's basically fear of the unknown. How are you received, generally speaking, in your practice?
Well, it's interesting because since I moved to Manitoba, the main reaction or response when people ask what I do or what my work is, and when I say a psychic medium, is, oh, that's scary. In Regina, there was interest, there was excitement, there was curiosity. So it's very much kind of shows either the exposure people have with it or around it. You look at the location I'm at now, there's a lot of religion. That's the community. That's where people come together. There's a lot of reinforcing of that dialogue. So somebody like me is not received well. But in Regina, I feel like people have a lot more exposure, a lot more different aspects that they get to connect to and experience, a lot of other people around them to kind of open up the perception around it, which is beautiful because it shows as a collective we're growing our awareness, we're understanding things different.
You know, I have a feeling about this because I'm going to knock the spiritual community. I think you are the most grounded psychic. When I thought about having this kind of discussion with a medium, you were the first person who came to mind, and it is specifically because you people can see that you're a person, right?
Thank you.
Other people in the spiritual community, they revel in eccentricities, make themselves stand out, so they're not very down to earth, right? Because you could have put on the white flowing robes and the turban. I keep telling people that, and you have not done so. You've chosen to be OP Kreft, and that's who you are. And I just tend to think that, yes, people romanticize the idea of the metaphysical community and, people with crystal balls and stuff like that. And people who are in that industry, who are in that kind of life, tend to ham that nonsense up. And why is that?
Because they want people to be intimidated. They want to be on a different level or playing field or on a higher recognition point. There's a lot of ego behind it of how unique and special they are. And they want people to recognize that. They also want a level of fear so that they're not questioned in their practice. Where I very much am of the belief system, I am human. I am walking on the same ground. You are no different than I because this is an ability. This is not a gift. This is an ability that I have had the opportunity to develop and grow and understand within myself. And anybody else who wants to dedicate themselves to it is able to connect in their unique ways with it. We are not different. We are just like everybody else. We have disastrous lives, just like everybody else. And the only difference that I think is that we try to learn and grow into life events. Normally people are like this in a response. We are trying to normalize and not give the energy to it and understand the bigger perspective of it. That is my job. Whereas a lot of people are still in a reactive state. So that's where I grow and develop to be so I can understand things better and be able to support people that come to me.
Yeah, I tend to think that when you are in that industry, the majority of your clientele is going to be women. Men definitely don't necessarily want to.
Oh, can I? That is a stereotype because a lot of men come to me, but it's because I'm factual, I communicate directly, and I cut out the bullshit.
Yes, Thank you. I was going to get there.
I
For
get,
those of you in the audience who don't know, Opie and I are friends, and one of the things that we love about each other is that we tend to keep it real all the time. So we don't have the time for the bullshit, and that is why it is that, it's your competence in being able to cut out the bullshit that really makes you stand out among the rest of the psychics that are out there, right?
thank you.
So I suppose we should probably get rid of some stereotypes since you brought them up. Okay, the first stereotype is that psychics are all communing with the devil. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. Listen, energies that we communicate, if it's channeling in different perspectives like that, these are still energies that are evolving. They are still consciousness. They are still at different levels and stages of consciousness. So we have to have discernment too with whatever information comes through as the receiver. Because if you're a channeler, if you're channeling energy, you're kind of in a disassociated state. So it's a responsibility of the receiver to take what they need and let go of the rest. Okay. You can't take an intuitive as complete truth either all the time. There's going to be variations or interpretations or variants on the experience received. We're just connecting to energy. That's all it is.
Okay. Most people don't know what energy is. You want to explain that construct?
It's a frequency you emanate from yourself or in the experience of the life. For example, I always tell people who are emanating fear or resentment, you can pretty that face up, you can smile as much as you want, and you can put as many blankets around that vessel as much as you want. The energy is always going to vibrate out. So that's when people are being deceptive to you, when
And
they're lying.
inauthentic as well.
Yes, inauthentic. Your response is a hesitation. Your immediate biological response is a pause because your subconscious is receiving a different communication than their words say.
Yes, and I think that there's a section of the population that has adapted frequency changes. We call them narcissists.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because what they do is, what a narcissist does is he or she makes you distrust the intuitive feel inside yourself to what you see.
They're
And when you
destructive.
default to your senses, as opposed to being aware of the triggers that are inside of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's say you meet somebody and you get that bad feeling, but the person is like, "Hi, how are you?" Very charming and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to dismiss the intuitive feeling inside themselves for what they can see. And I keep telling you, the senses are a lie.
Yes. And they will gaslight the crap out of you over it. And this is where the lack of education of the superpower of our intuition and building awareness in our youth around that, because that is our North Compass. That is our 911 radar. And if everybody tells you how oversensitive you are and all these things, the narcissist comes in and reinforces all that dialogue you've experienced your entire life and is coming in a support way of teaching you how to be, redefining you. And it's slow, it's meticulous, and it's gradual over time.
Yeah, I get it. You're correct about that. And I'll tell you something. Most people, when they're in this idea of judgment that psychics are weird people, not realizing that they have a psychic sense themselves.
Yes.
And they often, I tend to think of the psychic sense or the intuitive sense in this way. The more you listen to it, the stronger it grows. The
Mm-hmm.
less you listen to it, that small voice becomes smaller and smaller. And then you're operating literally blind.
Yeah. On facts. I find these individuals that have been hyper tuned in their youth have been attacked, shamed, or belittled for it. Their self-esteem has severely been impacted by it, and they turn it off. And they are the most factual, detailed, oriented folks, scientists, analytical accountants, different aspects like that. They rely on actual concrete facts and they live their whole life by it.
Yeah. here's the thing that I think about that. I'm going to have an opinion where this is concerned. The scientists and so on, they serve themselves a purpose. We're going to get into the soul's purpose in a while, but it's very important. But a lot of them are evidence-based and fact-based because they're afraid of anything else. They have seen what the other world beholds, right? Because let's face it, like I give this joke very often on my podcast. Let's say you're an empath and that's a particular affliction that you have, right? And you're very empathic, you're feeling the feelings of other people, you're discerning things from a frequency level. Okay? Here's a joke for you. An empath walks into the bar. That's the end of the joke. Right there. So people generally tend
Mic drop.
People generally tend to try to switch off those senses, these intuitive senses. And you know, when they do that and they want to say, oh, it's all about fact, and if there is no fact and there's no look.
But it scares them that they can't define it.
It's not only that it scares them, it means that you're living in a world where there are undefined limits, which is something that a controlled person, somebody who craves control, is not going to accept. They're not going to accept that they're living in a world with undefined limits. They're not going to accept that they could meet somebody and the person could feel what they're feeling inside, hear what they're thinking inside, know what they're about to do. That is a lack of control on their part. And so a lot of these people tend to go into spaces where it's all about fact. We need fact, we need numbers, we need figures, we need whatever. And they don't realize they're belying that they're powerless. Because numbers, figures, and facts will never give you power. All they will give you is information.
Yes. Don't define yourself off that. That's the worst part. Open to more. There is a possibility of more. And I love skepticism. I love it when it's show me. Show me that this could be real. Show me the potential. The prove me energy, don't have time for it. No energy, no interest, because they just want to attack. But the energy of like, this would be incredible if that would be possible. How is that possible? I don't understand how that's possible. How did you know that? I recently had a client come to me because the child had a session with me and the client's parent on the other side came through with all this information of health information to me. And there was an importance of, hey, make sure that they're getting this tended to, make sure to check up on this. All of a sudden, that child's parent came to me. How did you know all this? I was going through all these treatments. I was going through all this experience, and nobody knew except me and my wife. And the things that you brought through to my child, nobody would know of. So that was an incredible conversation. I was a little scared because I was like, oh, crap. What did I say?
Opie, I've been meaning to do this podcast for a while. I'm wondering how people live without their intuitive sense. Let's say that you have grown up and you're now have a wife and you have kids. How do you live without intuitive sense on board? That's a pretty short marriage you have going. If you ask me, right? You're looking to fail at parenting and you're looking to fail at being a good spouse to your loved one. Because if you don't have the intuitive sense, because I'm going to tell people this, and this is a fact, 70% of communication is non-verbal. It is non-verbal. So I say, could you please pass me the salt? Okay? You are Mr. Facts and Figures. You don't believe in intuitive anything and so on. You're like, here, here's the salt. Then the person says, pass me the sugar now. Okay? I say, okay, here's the sugar. Let me just continue with my... Seriously? Like there are so many people out there living without any kind of softness or intuition on board that they are literally, I mean, it makes life easier. Let's not get it
Mm,
twisted. I would like to go out of my house and walk down the street and not pick up from people's eyes what they're thinking. Okay? But
yes.
people don't realize that they're in a constant state of projection, a transmission. They're
Mm.
constantly transmitting and they don't realize that. Or probably they do realize that, right?
Or maybe they're hoping somebody will transmit and pick up on their tune so they can release too.
This is true.
Right? Have you ever been somebody in the mall waiting as an empath to go to your groceries and get them through, and then all of a sudden somebody random comes up and just starts spewing? It's because their intuition picked up that they are open channel to receive the information and decompress their stress. Intuition is something that's just a part of us as being human.
You do realize we're making an argument for being a science-based blocked person, right? Because then nobody's talking to you, right, about this stuff. You can imagine. Look, I think that people don't realize they live in an energetic sea. I'll give you an example. I go to the gym in the morning. I certainly hope nobody from Evolution is watching this,
If they
right?
are, hey,
I go to the gym in the morning, and the gym is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You live in an energetic sea.
mm,
People don't realize that they're projecting, they're hitting other people with energy, and then people pick it up and so on, right? If you,
especially the gym.
especially the gym or bar situation,
Yes,
right? Or
just
if you go to a bar,
shedding it.
shedding it. So
Yeah.
if you are, I'm gonna use. It happens to men, but mostly to women. You're in the gym and you're just trying to do your pull-ups, your squats, your deadlifts. You're just trying to do them in peace, and then you have some man literally hitting you with energy. He's not talking, he's not touching you, but oh my
Yeah.
God, energy is all over you.
Yeah.
And this is what we're talking about. So you have to be very careful when it is that you have an opinion where psychics or mediums or whatever are concerned, because you're a psychic or medium it yourself. You may not be at their practice level, but you're
Yeah.
doing it yourself. Every day you experience it. You probably wish you didn't, right? You're in the gym just doing your deadlifts. Right?
Yes.
You want to be the best version of yourself, but no, other people have other things in mind, and you can hear their thoughts and you
Yeah.
can feel the energy, and it's nasty stuff a lot of the times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, if this energetic sea that we live in, you talk about you come from a small town place.
Yeah.
Small towns are yo.
Well, it's very interesting because I have never lived in a small town, so it's very different experience than what I'm used to. And it's
Mhm.
interesting because we lived in 3 different sections of small town now in Manitoba. And one location, nobody moves away. So they never get to experience real life. They're very closed off to how lucky they are. And
But
if
it's
you,
but it's energetically dense as well, isn't it?
oh, so dense. Like even just the actions and behaviors people choose in, it feels like I'm living in the 80s. I'm like, where is the education for these people and the choices that they're making? Right? It's fascinating to me. And then the location, Winnipeg Beach, where we're living now, a lot of people come here in retirement. So they've lived a life, they've traveled, they've experienced different work environments and stuff, and they have a whole different experience and energy. Like everybody here is very open and kind and graceful. There's still the junk. There's still like a lot of lower energy, high alcoholism, drug use, different aspects like that. But there's a different energy of community and like old fashioned values and supporting of small businesses, which I love.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people, we're going to get back onto this concept of the soul's purpose. When we're talking about this stuff, and I digress because this was actually a wonderful rabbit hole to go down. When we're talking about people in this energetic mess that we're talking about, and people come onto this plane and they're interacting both energetically, they're interacting verbally, they're interacting physically in intimate relationships and so on.
Mm.
Do you believe that this interaction is a predestined interaction, such as my soul's purpose is to be Mr. Joe's wife or Miss Harriet's husband?
Well,
Do you think that's a predetermined thing?
here's what I think is fascinating. Everybody has a perspective that they are unique and different in their own ways, and their sole purpose is to be this huge experience and expansion for everybody that connects to them. When I connect to people with a clarity of how unique they are, or however they define it, they want to like go big with it immediately, and they expect the response to be received as how unique and special and awe they are. And I don't want people to think that soul's purpose is limited to huge, like, media fame or whatever it is, because a lot of these people speak of it as a fame, connection, or extension, which is feeding their ego. Listen, sometimes our purpose is to give birth to a child that's going to impact their community significantly. Sometimes our purpose is to be present with unique, specific two individuals that are going to take that energy and ripple it on. Sometimes our purpose is going to that grocery store for that cashier who's having a rough day and spark interest and remind her she's valued and cherished in this world so she doesn't go home and commit suicide. You don't get the honor all the time of seeing what your purpose is, and it's never limited to one experience. It is meant to grow and foster and form into all these different aspects through your journey, because at different life periods of where you're at, your capacity will shift.
You know, a lot of people, whenever I speak to them, and they've done the past life stuff.
Oh, that drives me nuts. That is a trigger for me.
I'm about to trigger you, Opie. I'm about to trigger you. You know, most people who said, "Oh, I've done past life regression with some hypnotherapist somewhere," and I found out that I used to be Cleopatra in a past life.
Yeah, you're not now.
Or like, I don't know, Cleopatra. You know how many Cleopatras I've met, right? In the last 10 years, everybody wants to be Cleopatra.
What is
a custodian at a high school somewhere?
But perhaps you were a support to Cleopatra. Perhaps you were a lower extension. Who is to devalue the impact of what you did to support her in that realm?
It's ego.
Oh,
ego. All right. Everybody wants to be this important figure. Nobody wants to be the custodian in a high school that really was a inspiration to some kid that went on to make a change in the world. Nobody wants to do that.
Listen, this is where it gets so wonky for me, because I am of the belief system that everybody deserves the respect. There is no differentiation between like a judge and a trash collector, because to me, a trash collector is so valuable, and I am grateful for the work that they do, and I feel as though you should hold pride in it. Whereas a lot of people have this judgment, this belittling component of these people that support our infrastructure, our life, and are doing incredible things so that we can be free of these different things. Tradesmen are incredibly valuable and important and change the world in so many ways. They create value in our life experience. And I don't think people stop to look at what they project onto others. It just drives me nuts.
Yes. let me give you this joke. Everybody wants their child to be a doctor or a lawyer somewhere. Then the child grows up, goes to law school, goes to medical school. And then the child moves to a place like Regina in Saskatchewan, as an example. And the first winter, that happens and the heating breaks, the child learns a very humbling thought. And the humbling thought is that, all that stuff that I've done in life is worthless without the heating guy fixing this heat. So I think people have a lot of arrogance on board, depending on what it is that they're doing, until they run into the humbling aspect that the heating guy, the plumber, and these people that you think are less. And by the way, these people shouldn't be looked down on because they're making more money than anybody else.
Oh, right? My goodness. And the value everybody brings, David. They need to look at the value, even if it's just a gas tank. You're bringing value to somebody else's life experience, whether they choose to see it or not. We all are bringing value. It's the energy that you bring to it and the recognition.
Yes. So when you're talking about the soul's purpose, honestly speaking, your soul's purpose could be as a supporting figure, which is equally as valuable as the main character, because there's a lot of main character syndrome running out there. If you, and this is a pet peeve of mine, I open TikTok and I go to the I don't TikTok. Just because I feel like being depressed today. I go to the spiritual metaphysical side of TikTok and I'm doom scrolling TikTok and I'm hearing so much bullshit. And I'm not sure where these people are getting this from, right? So you have people, if you keep telling people that they are kings and queens and stuff like that, if everybody's a king and a queen, then nobody's eating today then?
But let's look at a psychic mediumship's journey. Most psychic mediums don't actually open up to their abilities until mid-40s on.
Correct.
Because we are living the human experience. We've raised our families normally by that point, unless you're crazy like me and do the 20-some 40-year route. Right? So you have the human perspective, you have the purpose in those connections during that journey, which fosters even more connection and purpose from that extension. And then you step into new alignment and new purpose when you have space and capacity for it. And you're able to bring a deeper, more loving, compassionate perspective to your purpose. So it's also gradual growth, which I think a lot of people do not recognize the power and the gift it holds.
Agreed. Okay. So honestly, I think a lot of people generally tend to think about the soul in very narrow points of view. So let's say you have a baby that is born. Born of a soul. The baby grows up, the baby goes to school, the baby does wonderful things in this life. Okay? What is the end purpose of that baby existing? Is it to move the baby's family forward, the baby itself forward, or the society at large forward?
I think that's individual, because there is a group connection within the soul group that this baby has chosen to reincarnate with. And let's also recognize too, sometimes a child's growth is limited. It's short time. They get ill. It's for a condensed period because their purpose has been achieved. And when there is no more lessons for the soul to achieve, that's when they transmute back to the other side. Right? So it's recognizing what that individual connection point is within that soul community that they're connecting to. Sometimes your parents are just vessels for you to segregate from and connect to your community further on in your journey.
Understood. So when we're talking about the soul and its migration from this world to the next, you've had to deal with people who are terminally ill, and so have I in my practice. I've had to counsel people who are terminally ill and so on. And one of the things that they're always going to be wondering is there existence after this transition? And of course, they're going to ask the medium. So I'm going to ask the medium for them. Is there existence after this transition? Or is
Oh,
it just a transition in and of itself?
there's definitely existence when I connect to the energy of it. And it feels as though this is just a dream. This is just a moment in time. This is just a fraction of our experience, because the hard part is our human mind has so many limitations. If we actually had access to all the information, we would literally have a psychotic break. So that's why gradual growth of understanding these things is a progressive state through our journey. But when I connect to it, it's home. It's who we are. It's our essence. It's our connection. It's connection to everything. So it's an experience that no longer has the density of pain, judgment, chaos. It just, anytime spirit connects it to me, there's such a deep, loving, unconditional peace. It's
the sea of stillness that we're talking.
oh, it's
You know,
beautiful.
you brought up a very you brought up a very good point. I remember being part of a spiritual organization years ago, and the instructor there kept telling us that you must learn to die a little bit each day. And what he meant by that is get into that meditative state where you see the sea of stillness to understand that there is life beyond, or well, not life, but existence beyond, right?
Yeah.
The stuff, and most people won't get there. This is what I can't understand about people. They don't. A lot of people say that they believe that they have a soul. Okay, you ask the average Christian, I believe that I have a soul. The problem is, Opie, you're going to die, right? So if you have a belief leaves room for doubt, right? Which is why people are frightened to die. They're frightened for their own skin, they're frightened to die. You should be afraid of the process of dying. You shouldn't be afraid of dying.
Yes.
You should be afraid of the process of dying, not of dying itself. Here's the thing that I don't understand about people. If you believe that you have a soul, that means that there's room for doubt. But you're alive right now. You can prove it to yourself by learning the things that you need to learn to see what is beyond that plane. It's not possible, right? There are meditation classes all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And if you get really good at it, you understand that there is existence beyond what you think that there is. But there are hypnotherapists as well who can help you do that the same way. Buy a Lucia light, do these kinds of things, right?
But the fear.
The fear is something that is something else. I mean, even a little thing like meditation, right? You need to, those people that have been in meditation for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, you get very, very accustomed to understanding that there is an existence that is beyond this.
Yes. Yes.
And people will not put themselves in the position to stop saying, I believe I have a soul, to start saying, I know I have a soul.
Yes, yes. Well, and the fear gets exploited in so many ways, in the media, in movies, in religion, in people wanting to separate ourselves from everything. And that's where the separation really fractured the community sense for me.
Yes.
When I look at how people fracture yourself from each other, from your community, from your soul, from knowing who yourself. And it's interesting to me because I find a lot of people avoid sitting in meditation to connect to who they are, because then it would no longer fit the box that everybody else has identified them. They can't connect to other people the same way. They're separate in their mind from it, but really it's just an extension of the version they were growing into another.
I used to be a meditation teacher, and we did transcendental meditation. And one of the fears that people have of meditating, well, apart from the corruption of the information cycle, saying that meditation will put you in contact with the devil for the religious folk,
They say that?
Yeah, they do say that. That was a big thing back in the day when meditation was coming into its own back in the 70s and 80s. People literally put it as, it's so weird to me, right? Like they would
And
do
we
it to keep people away from themselves. Most people are afraid to meditate because it will put you into contact with the things that you are trying to avoid about yourself.
it's connecting you to who you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's connecting you back to your soul. It's connecting that channel, a stream of energy, so you can know who you are again.
Mm-hmm.
Not what people define you to be. But David, can we just bring up too, we are not advocates, and this is something that I really am so grateful to connect to you, of any kind of medicinal support in these experiences. I am very much an advocate of do this sober within yourself. You do not need any kind of drug, medication, anything to achieve this. That is the hyperspeed.
Okay, I'm glad that you said that and brought that up. There are a whole bunch of people that are doing ayahuasca. There are a whole bunch of people that are doing mushrooms. There are a lot of people that are doing MDMA, and a lot of people are doing ecstasy as a spiritual substance. There's even a cult down in, I believe, Ohio or whatever else, that is using the poison from a toad.
I saw that. Oh!
Poison from a toad to give you DMT type experiences. Guys, let me explain something to you. You don't actually need to do that. You don't actually need to do that. Here's the problem, and I'm going to tell you the benefits and the drawbacks of utilizing plant medicines and other substances. The benefits are is that it's quick. Oh boy, is it quick. You don't have a choice. You're going to get into that trance state whether you like it or not. So it's very, very quick. The problem is that you're getting 25 years of psychotherapy in one night. Now, I am going to tell you that I have met a lot of people who have gone completely bananas.
You just have to watch their journey. It'll take a few years and you will start seeing it.
Right? I have gone particularly bananas utilizing this stuff. So that's the drawback. Also, the practitioner who's doing this for you has to be well trained, which obviously requires a large amount of trust. On the other side of the fence, if you learn to meditate, sit down with your thoughts, get into yourself. Let me tell you the pros and the cons of it when we're talking about the souls and the soul's purpose. A lot of people think, I would like to know my soul's purpose. No, you do not. You're just fronting. A lot of people want, like, I want to know my soul's purpose. No, you do not. You are just fronting. A lot of y'all are just fronting. I'll tell you why. Because as soon as you start to meditate and you begin to realize some truths about yourself, oh, you know, one of the truths might be, there's nothing authentic about me, and I hate my husband or my wife, and my children are little, well, a-holes. And that is the truth that you will see. It's not going to be all rainbows and unicorns and like shooting stars and stuff. You're going to have to come to terms with some hard truths. Everybody who meditates has to come to terms with some hard truths. And a lot of people would like to avoid that.
Because it demands a better experience in this world from you, and you have to change who you are. You have to grow, you have to heal, you have to look at the darkness within you. And let me tell you something, everybody that has this dark and light component, that is another aspect of this. You cannot recognize your light unless you go to the darkest dark. There is purpose.
Mic drop. I'm going to, like, you know, this studio. Mic drop.
Look at us, David.
The thing about it, I'm going to have to do the nuke explosion here. Is that a lot of people live in the delusion that I'm a nice person. There's a song by Motorhead, for those of you, like, you could Google it on YouTube for those of you watching.
Motorhead.
Anymore. I want y'all to go Google that song and put the lyrics. So it says, when you're young and you think that you're the greatest thing in town and so on, you don't realize that your niceness, right? Your version of niceness is covering up some dark stuff.
Yeah.
There are people that walk around with something called a nine-tooth smile. I'll explain a nine-tooth smile to you. When you are smiling falsely, only 9 of your teeth can show at any time.
Wow.
Smiling genuinely, more of your teeth show. So they don't realize that when you're talking to somebody like me, I'm counting your teeth, okay?
I've got a lot of teeth to count.
You've never had a false smile ever since I've met you.
I know.
I don't know how you do. And listen, so there's something called a nine-tooth smile. A lot of people walk around with nine-tooth smile. People don't realize that they are in a constant state of projection. So I'll give you all some facts for those of you who are fronting right now. When you are smiling falsely, the muscles that you use to smile falsely will only reveal 9 teeth. That's as far as your jaw will retract. When it is that you are smiling genuinely, there are different muscles involved which pull your lips back a lot more, just so that we're clear. So when it is that you meet me in real life, if you ever meet me and you see me looking at your mouth, I'm counting your teeth. Okay? I'm counting your teeth. So this idea that people have of themselves as a nice people, and you see them, it's a hypocritical thing a lot of the time, and it's hiding dark stuff. Now they're hoping that other people don't see the dark stuff and they don't want to see the dark stuff in themselves. But then you get them in a meditation center, close your eyes. The last person that you smile at, did you like them? No.
That's fascinating.
I didn't like them because they were the wrong skin color, because they were bigger than me, because they were taller than me, because I'm jealous of them, and so on. And by the way, women give other women a lot of nine-tooth smiles. I see it. I count the teeth. Right?
Oh, but it's also kind of the validation of those that are like the most joyous and lead with the happiness have the most pain inside.
Agreed.
Right? Because a lot of people in my life would have never known the struggles and the demons that I was fighting. They would have never tapped in because I was so good at being humorous, joyous, positive, socialite, all these different navigating tools I learned to hide what was actually happening within.
Yes, because and this is a social construct as well. We're talking about the soul's purpose. But a lot of people believe that your soul's purpose is to come here and be happy and sprinkle fairy dust everywhere that you go. And that is not the truth. They tell themselves this thing.
There's this shame. People feel shame out of the hardship, the isolation, and it's time for us to stop hiding these things.
And be messy.
Yeah. It's okay. You're human. You're not here to be perfect. I don't want somebody perfect showing up in my life all the time. It's exhausting.
Can you imagine if you had perfect clients, like somebody like imagine a day in the life of Opie. Okay, let me just get a magic wand. Every client shows up and says, "Hi, I just want to know, should I wear the blue shoes or the red shoes?" Definitely the red shoes. Imagine a day like that and they pay you afterwards, right? I mean, like, you can imagine a day like that.
David, I like this. I think this is a lot easier of a job than what I'm working right now. And I'm just thinking maybe.
People think that their messiness is meant for my office, or another therapist's office, and so on. It is okay to be messy, and a lot of people don't want to be messy in public because they think that people are going to judge them. And the ironic thing about it is that people are going to judge you, but they're going to judge you because they themselves are experiencing embarrassment in themselves because they know that there's wreckage inside.
Yeah, those that are the control perfectionism, man, they have a lot going on underneath.
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of people, I don't know when we stigmatize the concept of crying being messy. I don't know when we stigmatize this, but I believe sometimes it is important to be messy, especially when it is that you're overwhelmed. Because I have seen the results of people pushing down these things. And if you're talking about it in a soul's purpose discussion, sometimes your soul's purpose is to come and work out the stuff that
Yes.
you know is inside of you that you have to express. Emotions are expressed, they're not oppressed. And when you oppress them, what is happening is that you are looking to develop illness within your body, which, once again, could be just another lesson for you.
So the thing is that people are not aware that what is happening around us is a reflection of our internal energy. Because that's what we attract. That's the experience we attract from what we're avoiding within. And then if we are not learning, engaging, educating ourselves from these experiences that we keep having show up, what happens eventually, the energy that cannot release will create illness within us. So then we are having to deal with ourselves before dealing with the environment.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
It's a hard lesson.
Yes, and there's also the concept that people think that they've come here for one purpose. You may have come here for several purposes.
Don't miss them. Don't miss those opportunities, because the moment you stop growing, what's your purpose of being here then?
Agreed. Well, Opie, that has been a very interesting discussion. I want to talk about the stuff that you have coming up. Conexus Arts Centre in Regina, Saskatchewan on February. Tell me.
I have to tell you, David, I can feel the energy of this event already, and I am so excited. I can't even. Our vendors are Saskatchewan practitioners, businesses, all different aspects that you can connect to enhance your education, your experience, your health, or your soul development. It is so exciting to see this community of small businesses come together and unite. So they're all over Saskatchewan, and they are just a powerhouse of incredible energy. I cannot wait for everybody to experience it. And you get to experience with me for a 2-hour event of live connection to spirit, psychic readings, mediumship connection, information and education about mediumship. I love to laugh. I love tears, and I love going through all the different layers. So you will be leaving there feeling all sorts of feels that you will hold on to for a lifetime.
So I'm going to do a plug for OP's event because I was at the last one, and it's an event that you guys definitely want to come to, and I'll tell you why that is. Because it's not just about the spiritual stuff. There are people there that are selling organically made soap, as an example. Right? You're going to meet interesting people there, and people are generally friendly at these events.
Yeah.
Right? They are generally friendly at these events, and they will want to know who you are. Right? So, in terms of meeting people of like minds, if you guys are particularly interested in alternative living, and you're not interested in the next set of numbers that is coming into your bills, you might want to just take a break and come out to this event because it is definitely a worthwhile event. I'm going to do another plug here. Opie does private readings, and she does them over Zoom as well. So connect with Opie. I have put her information there at OP Connection and opconnection.ca. Guys, you guys need to connect with her because, honestly speaking, in terms of look, I've met a lot of psychics, a lot of mediums in my time, hundreds of them. Okay, I've interviewed a lot of them, and I could pretty much tell you a handful of them were very, very genuine and very real. And Opie is one of the good ones because she actually has skill.
Thank you.
And she doesn't only have skill in the spectrum of being just a psychic or a medium, but she's a pretty good spiritual counselor, which you guys are going to need. Because there's no point in going to a psychic, oh, you're going to die tomorrow.
I will never tell you when you're going to die.
This is something we need to have another one of these discussions. There's no point going to psychic. Oh, you're going to die tomorrow. That'll be $12.50. You could pay me something like that. That is useless to you. You need a spiritual counselor who has intuitive faculty, right? Don't look. I know a lot of y'all go to the psychic fairs and you get read on the street corner and so on. Oh my God, right? That is going to be useless to you if somebody doesn't have the counseling skills to tell you, give you options and solutions and ways of looking at stuff, and in certain cases, some kind of comfort. So, guys, when you're looking for that kind of, when you're looking for somebody to do a reading for you or whatever the case may be, you need somebody with those kinds of skill sets, which is why Opie is in front of you right now.
Thank you.
I only bring people on these podcasts that are worth their weight, right, in value. So, guys.
Thank you, David. It means a lot. It means a lot to have your respect of my work. So thank you.
Yes, I certainly definitely respect you. Other than that, we'll see you in the next IHN broadcast. It's been fun, Opie. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to everybody. Have a beautiful day.